There is a widespread cultural consensus about how the human brain experiences joy. We talk about chasing dopamine hits every time we open an app, level up in a video game, or bite into processed junk food. People are taking extreme measures based on this belief. The trend of dopamine fasting, locking away phones, avoiding rich foods, and sitting in silence, has grown popular as a way for people to supposedly reset their capacity to feel joy. These behaviors are driven by a singular premise. Modern society treats dopamine as the literal biological currency of happiness. We assume that more dopamine translates directly into more pleasure. But by misidentifying the specific chemical responsible for pleasure, we have misdiagnosed why modern life leaves us feeling so unfulfilled. To understand what is actually happening in our heads, clinical neuroscientists put the pleasure chemical theory to the test in a controlled laboratory setting. The logic was straightforward. If dopamine equals pleasure, chemical levels in the brain should peak exactly at the moment a person receives and consumes a reward. This graph maps chemical levels across a timeline to show the reality of the experience. Measurements reveal a biological anomaly. The dopamine spike occurs before the reward is acquired. This data forces a reclassification. Dopamine signals anticipation. It surges while looking forward to a reward and is absent during consumption. If this chemical is mathematically absent during the physical feeling of pleasure, why does it exert such total control over human behavior? The answer lies in the biological reality that the human brain splits the experience of a reward into two entirely separate neurological networks. The first is the liking system. Actual enjoyment, contentment, and sensory satiation are mediated entirely by endogenous opioids and endorphins. This is the true biological signature of feeling good. The second is the wanting system. This separate neural pathway governs motivation, drive, and relentless craving, and it runs entirely on dopamine. Because these systems are neurologically severed, a startling scenario becomes biologically possible. You can intensely crave an object or experience that you do not actually enjoy. The dopamine system operates as an internal scout. It continuously scans the environment for cues that historically promise a survival resource or a potential reward. This model represents reward prediction error, the brain's algorithm calculating expected versus actual reward. Anticipating a positive error causes a dopamine surge. This instantly mobilizes the body's energy and focuses attention to chase the cue. This setup has a specific evolutionary function. It was designed to keep humans hunting, foraging, and seeking out new resources. It was never intended to make us feel content or satisfied. This algorithmic drive explains why the pursuit of a goal feels incredibly urgent, yet the final acquisition of that goal often leaves us feeling surprisingly empty. When we apply these models to the modern digital environment, the source of our collective exhaustion becomes clear. Technology and food engineering deliberately exploit this specific evolutionary anticipation loop. Mechanisms like the infinite scroll or persistent notifications of a shopping cart act as perfect wanting traps. They offer endless, frictionless cues for anticipated rewards. The neurological states during these acts are deeply mismatched. High dopamine keeps us mindlessly scrolling, while the actual content we consume delivers almost zero opioid-driven liking response. We find ourselves caught in a continuous biological loop, endlessly anticipating things that our pleasure centers barely even register anymore. Breaking this cycle begins by recognizing that a craving is a biological signal for effort, not a prediction of future enjoyment. This also means the popular goal of a complete dopamine detox is misguided. Without this chemical, we would lack the motivation to get out of bed, let alone pursue any meaningful life goals. The true objective is consciously separating the instinct to want from the capacity to like. We have to point our dopamine-driven motivation toward pursuits that trigger genuine, endorphin-based fulfillment. Satisfaction arrives only when we direct this powerful internal engine toward the specific experiences that our brains were actually evolved to enjoy.